This is how I got a Chinese person almost killed today in Islamabad. So I have never seen a Chinese person in my entire life. But lately I have been seeing kilometers and kilometers of roads in my dreams. And I knew what this was about. CPAC. So I had to see a Chinese person today. For this purpose I went to my local shopkeeper who knows the lay of land.
पानी में चीनी लब रहे हैं वहाँ.
I forgot that in Punjabi a Chinese person and sugar are both called chini.
नहीं ये वाली चीनी नहीं, मैं बंदा चीनी लब रहे हैं वहाँ.
So I changed into my city clothes and went 35 kilometers away to a big city. I went straight to a park. It was so hot today and the sun was beating down on me. So I started asking around for Chinese people. Then I finally found a Chinese person
Hello?
for the first time in my
Hello?
entire life.
Are you Chinese?
Yes.
But when I took the Chinese person in my bare hands, this happened. Well, this one is straight out of Shaolin Buddhist temple. When he finally caught up with me, instead of kicking my butt, he sought my help. He wanted me to take him to a Buddhist monastery or stupa. And I knew just the place from YouTube videos. So we hired a taxi to go there. He told me that he was a Buddhist and Pakistan had played a very crucial role in the history of Buddhism, especially the Chinese Buddhism came from Pakistan, and he wanted to meditate in places where the elders of Chinese Buddhism like Vasubandhu had meditated. We finally arrived at Shah Aladita caves, and this place was out of this world. And despite of its very heavy Islamic name, this place was built by Buddhists some 1700 years ago, 300 years ago before Islam. It consisted of a cave for meditation and a stupa at the top of the mountain in Margla Hills. I had never seen such a beautiful place in my entire life. Just like Hindus, Buddhists also believe in multiple births, and their end goal is to get out of this cycle of rebirth, which is called Nirvana. Normally it takes years of meditation to get Nirvana, but he wanted it in 1 month or 2 depending upon his visa extension. I bet Buddha did not know that along with desire, bureaucracy will also be a huge impediment to end of sufferings. Due to post-corona inflation and global warming, this guy had decided not to come back to this world in the next life and instead reach Nirvana. And the meditation begins. But why is he chanting Amitabh, Amitabh Bachchan's name? Is he going Bollywood style? If so, then why not chant Siddharth Malhotra or Gautam Gambhir's name? I interrupted his meditation to ask him this question. He told me that he follows Chinese Pure Land Buddhism, which has multiple cosmic Buddhas, and Amitabh Buddha is one of them, and he is praying to him. So I realized that I have never been so ignorant in my entire life. Now we decided to visit the Buddhist stupa on the mountain top on a scorching hot afternoon. We had to hike 2 kilometers in 45 degrees. He had 6 bottles of mineral waters in his bag which he left in the taxi, and despite of my insistence, he did not bring any of them with him. On our way up to the stupa, we met these 2 Hazara men from Haripur. When I offered him my water before I drank it, he first fat shamed me for needing too much water to drink, and then he said something which was Chinese equivalent of Punjabi. Asi purane waqtan de loka asi desi horaka khadiyan tode nakamme nahi. And exactly 2 minutes later he was lying on the ground. He could not speak, and when I along with Hazara boys tried to help him, he pushed us away. I did not know what was going on. I thought this is how Nirvana happened and he was achieving Nirvana. But when he came back to his senses, he told us it wasn't Nirvana or anything. He had just fainted from dehydration. One of the Hazara boys had rained down to the ground to bring him a fresh bottle of water, which he again suspiciously refused to drink. I did not know what was going on. Maybe he did not trust us. When we came down to the ground, I asked him to bathe himself in the fresh cold water of a stream that was coming down from the mountain, but he again refused to do so and instead chose to cool himself with a wet hand towel. And I finally realized what was going on. He was a Chinese Gujar. No judgment. Now we decided to return to the city, and he had low-key given up on Nirvana, but I had not given up on him, and luckily I had one last trick up my sleeve, and this trick was in season. Yes, Chonsa, the heavenly fruit which inspires Pakistanis to brave through deadly summers, might inspire him to achieve Nirvana. So we arrived at Magla Bazaar looking for Chonsa, but this was not the welcome we expected. Somebody had had his ball movement there. He left with his balls but chose to leave behind his movement on the spot, which made me throw up. But now I knew in what form he was coming back in his next life, because I could see his negative karma which he left behind right there, almost too closely. We were just exploring the bazaar when things took another turn. We ran into another Chinese. I was having the day of my life. In Punjabi we say that buffaloes are sisters of other buffaloes. Similarly, Chinese are sisters of other Chinese. While these 2 sisters caught up with each other, we were surrounded by a crowd of Pakistani people who thought these 2 were members of a gay pop group and I was their manager. I realized that we had diverted from our maqsad. Not that one. This one.
ਭਾਈਜਾਨ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਚੌਂਸਾ ਖਵਾਉਣਾ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਤੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜੇ?
वैसे ही खा ले,
ਵੈਸੇ ਹੀ ਖਾ ਲੇ?
वैसे ही खा ले, कोई मसला
ਚਲੋ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰੋ ਇਹਨੂੰ।
हमारे गेस्ट
ਹਾਂ
है, कोई बात
Now it was time to try the chonsa, and it was love at first suck. As soon as he started sucking on that mango slice, his pupils dilated and he went into ecstasy, and I thought it was finally happening. The journey towards Nirvana had begun, but when I asked him to confirm it, he told me what he felt was more like an orgasm than Nirvana. At this point, I bought him 3 kilograms of mangoes for $3.25 and asked him to go eat them in his room with the door closed and a tie on the doorknob. Now we parted our ways. Although today I could not help this man achieve Nirvana, but those mangoes did help him achieve something he had not achieved in months due to early onset of ED, and that's signing off. Subscribe kar lo yaar.